Our love has always been 10 centimeters apart. And no, it is not a 5 centimeters per second sequel. Oh man, you would not believe the amount of comments below the trailer that say, oh my god, is this a 5 centimeters per second sequel, spin off, parody, blah 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 blah. It's licensed by Aniplex. Anybody with a brain could tell you it's not being produced by Makoto Shinkai or anything like that. Anyone with a brain could tell you that this is its own thing. Just because this has centimeters in the title does not mean it is a sequel slash spin-off or have any relation to the film done by Makoto Shinkai. Although technically it was a 3-episode OVA, but it's marketed and released as a film. Whatever. I'm not here to talk about the politics of the release of 5 centimeters per second. I'm here to talk about our love has always been 10 centimeters apart. Now, I'm going to be looping the trailer for Our Love Has Always Been 10 Centimeters Apart, so expect to see it a lot in this video because it's only a minute long and I plan on this being at least a 5-minute video. Maybe a little less, but at least almost maybe maximum. Who knows? Regardless, this has been AnimeQuest. Please join me in my discussion of the trailer and information we have on Our Love Has Always Been 10 centimeters apart, although I'm going to say 10 centimeters apart for short, not a spin-off and or sequel to 5 centimeters per second. Just saying. Regardless, I've already that reference has already stayed its welcome, so it's time for it to get out, and let's talk about it. So, if you were wondering what the 10 centimeters the title was referencing was, it is in fact the 10 centimeters between the male and female protagonist's hands, because this is ultimately a romance anime. One of the first interesting things to note about this romance anime is that it's not actually a spin-off of that I'm not going to mention film. It's actually a spin-off, though, of 2 more anime films that were made by the same studio, Honeyworks, which is very interesting. They sound fairly obscure to me. Maybe they're not. Enlighten me. If they actually have a popular following, let me know. It's been a while since I have trudged around the deep end of anime, though, and checked out all the obscure titles that nobody's watching. It's been a good long while, mostly because of work and also video games and, friends and just trying to keep all this other stuff in my life, as well as this YouTube thing, ironically, takes time away from actually watching anime. But still, it's interesting because now Aniplex has got the rights to this little mini-series, which another interesting thing about it is that it's going to be a 6-episode anime. I'm not sure how I feel about that. A lot of times with romance animes, it can go on for 12 to 24 episodes even, and it can piddle around and drag its feet and not actually progress the romance further. Regardless, though, this doesn't necessarily have to, because the theme of the anime appears to be the idea that something is so close but so far away, which ironically, that anime film that will not be named, that we will not be comparing this to, was a Makoto Shinkai film, and Makoto Shinkai has always had a recurring theme throughout his anime films, where it's love across a long distance, which can be especially seen in Your Name, but it's also there in 5 centimeters per second, The Place Promised in Our Early Days, Voices of a Distant Star, and that has always been the theme of those. But this one seems to be a very interesting theme where it's so close but so far away, which you could argue in those sort of slice of life, shoujo romance shows where the protagonists aren't getting together, they like each other, they're kind of just piddling around, but they just don't do anything about it. Yes, that was the way it was in those shows, but that wasn't a story focal point for the most part. That was a writer's excuse to keep the story going for as long as possible. Probably it's some sort of manga they could keep printing and keep the story going, because it's very likely that they just didn't know how to write a romance and sustain the romance throughout the show. Well, and I feel like this 6-episode anime has the ability to transcend that. Maybe these 6 episodes shouldn't be something that worry me. Maybe it's something that's actually a good thing, because here I am sitting like, man, so many romance shows with 12 to 24 episodes have piddled their feet, farted around, and not really delved into the romance, but instead just had a will they, won't they sort of situation in romance anime that I don't particularly like. But maybe what this anime is doing, what 10 centimeters is going to do, is trim all that fat so we can get to the romance faster. Why waste our time? Why show us something we've seen over and over and over again? Maybe just sort of show us what we've seen, but do it a little bit better and do it in less time so we're not sitting there thinking like, wow, when is this going to end? When are they finally going to get together? And if that's the plan, quite honestly, I'm on board. I cannot wait to watch Our Love Has Always Been 10 centimeters apart. It's got me really excited as a fan of romance anime and as a fan of anime in general and someone who's tired of that sort of same trope. It even says in the description of the anime on the website, Crunchyroll's website actually, that both characters, both of our main protagonists, whose names escape me at the moment, let me just look at it. I believe it is, their names are Haruki and Mio. Yeah, Haruki and Mio. And it sort of says to us, the audience, that they are sort of closer to being in a relationship than they themselves are aware of. Like, everybody else around them sort of already sees them as a couple, with the exception of them, despite the fact that they both want to be a couple, which is very interesting. I honestly cannot wait for this. What do you guys think of this? What do you guys think of me and my thoughts on this? Please let me know in the comment below, and I will see you guys on the next Quest for Anime.